I'm Lindsay Nance, and today I'm taking you through a day in the life with Jay Cutler. I hope he's awake. We're about to find out. Good morning.
Hello.
He's up. How you doing?
Good, you?
Do you care if we invade your space for a little bit? We're doing good.
I think we're past that point. You're already in.
What are we eating for breakfast?
Coffee, you want one?
Yeah. Okay, so the whole purpose of today is really to give people an inside look at what you're doing right now, what goes on during your day, and kind of how you got to this point. Okay. So you're from Santa Claus, Indiana.
Correct.
For people who have maybe never heard of that or don't know what it's about, describe growing up there and what you did for fun.
It's basically just a small town, a couple thousand people. It's probably similar to kind of out here. Mm-hmm. For fun, you just rode bikes and played outside. That's literally all you did.
Did you have any jobs or anything growing up, or was it all like football from day one?
So my dad was Indiana State Police.
Oh, wow.
He had a concrete business on the side, kind of, because police didn't make any money back then. Mm-hmm. And they're still underpaid, but on the summers I had to work construction and stuff like that with him, and then I was in the back of a trash truck one summer. It was an awesome job.
Really? You liked it?
Oh, loved it. It started like at 5 in the morning, and we were done, because I played baseball in the summer, and we were done by like 1 or 2.
When did you start playing sports and realize that you were pretty dang good at a lot of things that you played?
So I think I started with baseball and soccer first.
Really?
Yeah, and I was 5, 6 years old. And then I didn't start football. My first year of football was flag football in 4th grade. Mm-hmm. And then in 5th grade, me and 2 other kids in my class, we were gonna play tackle, and they had just started a league in our hometown. Yeah. But we went over to Evansville, which was like a 45-minute drive. Mm-hmm. And the 3 of us went over there. And so every day after school, either my dad or one of the other kids' dads or moms would drive us 45 minutes over there. And then they'd drive us home. So we'd have to do like our homework in the car and stuff. We did that for 5th grade, and then 6th grade I did it again. And then 7th grade obviously was in middle school, and then started playing for the school then. You were
pretty cold at the other sports that you played too. All stayed in basketball, baseball, football. Why did you want to focus on football primarily?
I liked basketball probably the most growing up when I was younger.
Really?
Probably my sophomore year, like football kind of clicked, and I was like, all right, this is more fun than the other 2. Mm-hmm.
And then your senior year, a perfect season, right? Y'all went 15-0 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
We're thinking about going to Illinois, but then all of a sudden, Vandy comes out of nowhere.
Yep.
How did you make that decision to go to Vandy?
I didn't even know where Vanderbilt was.
Really?
Honestly, I didn't know where Nashville was.
Yeah.
Because like up there, I was a Notre Dame fan, and then it's all Big Ten up there. So Vanderbilt called the school, and that's back whenever like they had like you guys might remember this, like the PA system over the loud over so everyone could hear it. And they were like, Jay Cutler, please come to the athletic director's office.
And you're like, oh God.
I was like, here we go.
What did I do?
Went down there, Jay Birch, great guy. And he's like, Vanderbilt's on the phone, they want to talk to you. Got on the phone, and he's like, hey, we watched your film. We don't think that you can play, we really like it, but we don't think you can play tight end in the SEC. And I was like, well, that's good, because I don't even play tight end.
Okay, I was confused.
No, so was I. And the guy's like, who is this?
Yeah.
And I told him, and he's like, oh, I was watching the wrong film. And that's back whenever you had like VHS tapes. So you just send off VHS tapes.
A lot harder to get recruited.
Oh yeah. And so he's like, well, I'm gonna watch your film, I'll call you back. I was like, no chance. Go back to class. A couple hours later, again on the PA, come to the athletic, go down there. And the guy's like, hey, we watched it, we really like it. He goes, we wanna offer you a scholarship. And this is over the phone. And I'm like, okay. He goes, but we need to know by the end of the day. So I looked at Jay Birch, I was like, I gotta go home, I gotta talk to my dad, I gotta get out of here. He's like, yeah, just go. Get on the internet first, look up Vanderbilt, Nashville, all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea where this place is at. Get out there and I call my dad, and my dad's like, what happened? I told him. He's like, call him back. He goes, you're going. And I go, I don't even know where this place is at.
You couldn't even get a visit to go meet the coach, look at facilities.
And he's like, he goes, I don't care, just call him back. We'll go down there next weekend.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I mean, okay. So I called him back, and I'm like, I guess I'm in.
Yeah.
And they were like, perfect. Obviously, the rest is history.
Okay, so fast forward, we're at Vanderbilt now. You're a 4-year starter, set countless offensive records, never sit out an entire game due to injury. What did you think about your experience there, and what was that transition like going from a small town in Indiana to being welcomed into Nashville in that setting?
Well, Nashville was a lot smaller then, and Vanderbilt was small too. You know, there's only like 6,000 undergrads there. The transition wasn't that bad. I think that first redshirt year, where I was able to play on the scout team and kind of travel and go to school and do all that stuff, made the transition easier. Like playing as a freshman straight out of high school probably would have been a little bit tougher.
While you were there, again, had a lot of success. Was that something that you were kind of expecting in your mind? Did you feel like you were going to do well in that offensive scheme and with the coaching and everything?
You know, we got a new head coach. Bobby Johnson came in after my freshman year. Bobby was interesting. Like, he was awesome. Great dude, great coach. But like, we were like, no cussing, tuck your shirts in.
Yeah.
You had to wear like all the right gear. You know, we had to learn a whole new system, which wasn't bad. But like, I really liked my class. Like, we had a lot of talent. So it was kind of a building process with those guys. But we could have won more games, but it was fun.
And then heading into the draft, you go first round, 11th overall, to the Broncos, where you spent 3 seasons and did really well, especially given the circumstances that you had to go through. And I think people don't know as much about that. Just like off of the field, you're going to the NFL for the first time, and then you throw health issues on top of that, losing teammates, your coaching staff being switched around. How did that build you up mentally? Because we know you have the physical toughness from your background. But really, what did you learn from that experience?
I thought going to the NFL was a little bit easier than going from high school to college. Just because playing in the SEC, I think it's so fast and everyone's good. And when I got to Denver, Mike Shanahan was there, who was amazing. And the system we were running, he's an offensive genius. So, and I looked around, I was like, all right, well, my guys on my side are better too. So you're not, like, defense is obviously bigger and faster, but your guys are better and faster and smarter and stronger too. So it wasn't that wasn't that big of a deal. I think that, mentally it was harder than physically.
That's a lot.
Physically, I was, you're just throwing a football and doing the things. But mentally, the system's bigger. You got more responsibility. And you're an adult. Like, you're living by yourself. You have your own money. You're trying to figure out life as a 23-year-old. It goes from being fun in college and you're hanging out with the guys, you're going to school, you're in the dorms, to like an actual job. And it's a business. And like that's the part that you've got to grasp pretty quickly. And then going into my end of my second year, I lost, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, I lost like 32 pounds. And then we went, after the season, they were like, you're just stressed out from the season, it's a grind, it's like the first year starting the whole season. And I was like, well, I don't really feel that stressed, like there's something else. But we all went to Atlanta and we were working out there. I remember, like, we're bench pressing, and like I literally just dropped it on my chest. And I was like, something's up. So I flew back to Denver, and I think my sugar, they tested me, and my sugar was like 600, 700, 800, and it's supposed to be 100. And they gave me insulin right away, and I was like, I don't even know what the hell this is. They don't know what type 1 diabetes is. But started using insulin immediately, and I think I gained like 20 pounds in like 5 days. Type 1 is there's a late onset, which I got, and then there's kids that have it at age 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. So, I would go to these events and hospitals and stuff, and you see a 4-year-old and their parents, and like the kids their parents trying to give them shots, trying to check their sugar. Like, I remember when the kids were young, like I always used to get scared. So like I would try to check their sugar and like just to make sure they were straight. And getting a little like 4-year-old to so you could prick their finger.
It's terrifying.
Oh gosh, I mean it's brutal. So I had a lot of empathy for the parents that were kind of going through that, and the kids as well, obviously. So we raised money, we did events for them. It was good. It was a good time.
You mentioned Chicago. Leading into Chicago, that's really where you spent the majority of your career, 8 seasons with the Bears. A lot of offensive changes that you had to go through there. I mean, completely different change of pace from where you came from.
Yeah.
How did you adjust to that, and how did that make you better?
I don't know if it made me better. Yeah, it was different. Going from Denver was with Mike Shanahan, and he ran the show from top to bottom. It was an offense-oriented system. Everything was kind of centered around the quarterback. He did everything possible. Where Chicago was just different. It was defense, and we had an unbelievable defense. Lack and Briggs and Peanut, like all those dudes had been doing it for a while, and they were unbelievably good. Yeah. So offensively, it was just basically, hey, just score enough points to win, just don't mess it up, which was different.
Still made it to the playoffs, though. Had a good run there.
We had a good run one year.
And then I think when you were the spotlight for the media, I mean, they just came out of nowhere. People start laying into you. But I think what emerged from that is this, like, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't care what you have to say mentality.
Yeah.
Have you always been like that?
No, I mean, I think Chicago sculpted me a little bit. But when I first got in the league, you didn't have to talk to the media.
Yeah.
So the offensive linemen in Denver, they had a fine system. So if any offensive lineman talked to the media, they got fined.
Really?
And it was always the sentiment was always, tell them nothing, give them as little as possible. Where now, with social media and everything, like you can kind of create your own story, and you have a say. Where back then, like Twitter was kind of kicking up, but whatever the media said, they kind of controlled the story. Where now, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, in Chicago, it was just like, just don't say anything at all.
I wouldn't have either. And now it's like, if you don't address the media, then you're a jerk. If you do, Twitter's going to pick apart every single thing that you say.
But you can also, you can say what you want to say. You can put it out there. You can hold people accountable. Where back then, you couldn't do that. And it wasn't. If you did that, you would kind of get tore apart. Where now it's much more acceptable.
Yeah. I like the I don't care attitude. I think it takes a lot of self-restraint and speaks volumes. And so after that, we all thought that you were going to Fox to be a sports commentator. Miami comes calling after Tannehill goes down with the injury. What made you want to play one more year?
Didn't really. I mean, Adam Gase was down there. Really liked him, respected him. I mean, I knew that I might want to play a little bit. I didn't know if Miami was the spot, but we talked about it, went back and forth, and I think the peer pressure just got me. So I was like, all right, we'll kick it for one more year. It was fun. I'm glad I did it.
And then after football, this is where you kind of turn a page and jump into a completely different world. So a lot of people knew you for your football success, and then I think a lot of maybe younger generations now know reality TV, Jay.
Yeah.
How in the world did they talk you into doing that? And what was it like?
Also didn't have a choice on that one. Kristen had been talking to them, and I mean, we went back and forth on it and shot a couple pilots and stuff, but it was happening. It was. I remember after the first season, I was at Frothy Monkey in Franklin. And this girl comes up and she's like, hey, can I get a picture? And I'm like, sure. She was like, I love you on the show. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not even, now it's completely changed. But it was definitely something completely different than I've ever done.
And
for sure.
Especially for your personality, like kind of staying low key and not wanting cameras in your face all the time. I think that's why it was surprising and hilarious to see that side of your personality.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and it got easier and easier as we did it.
Yeah, it was very entertaining to watch.
Thank you.
Say that. And then after that, we get into, I think, Cuts by Jay, your meat subscription service, and then Uncut, the podcast.
Yeah.
How did that changeover happen?
Pat LaFrida, who is probably the best butcher in the country, and he does a ton of meat in Jersey and New York. I think he provides like 2,000-3,000 restaurants. But he reached out, and so that was a no-brainer. And we had talked on the show about doing maybe a butcher shop.
Yeah.
But this was kind of an easy segue where I didn't have to do a shop and I could work with Pat. And so that's going. And then the podcast, they were on me about that for a while, and I didn't really want to do it. I still don't know if I want to do it, but I'm doing it. I kind of just gave in on that one too. I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's crank it up. But it's been fun. Like, I mean, today we have the guy that started Bulletproof Coffee. You know, we've done Tony Robbins. We've done Breland. We've done Ernest. I mean, we've done countless people, and it's been fun to kind of get to know these people. Get to learn new stuff. Like today, I'm guaranteed I'm gonna learn something from this guy. I mean, he claims he once lived to 180, so tell me how.
I can't wait to hear that answer.
I'm trying to live to 40.
Me too. So the podcast thing, was that difficult? Like, was it harder than you expected? Trying to keep a conversation going, because it's really different than playing a sport, leading a team, anything like you've ever done before. Like, this was very, maybe not in the wheelhouse that we've seen you in before.
If you have good guests, it's easy. You know, I've had guests where, you know, 5 minutes in, like I've burned up all my questions.
You're like, what are we
going to
talk about?
I'm like, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
This is not going to go well. But I think I've been really fortunate that I've had like really, really good guests where, you know, you ask 4 questions and next thing you know, it's like 45 minutes. And it's like, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought.
And you're just shooting it back and forth.
Yeah, like today's gonna be an easy one.
And then where did this partnership with Shannon Terry come in? Because like around Nashville, he's had like 600 successful companies, so we all knew about him.
Yeah.
But how did this partnership with Outsider and Shannon come to be?
I was playing basketball with Drew Maddox and a bunch of old guys over at CPA. And he was playing, and we were playing like 3 times a week at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And then when COVID hit, we started playing 3-on-3 at Shannon's house. And I knew he was getting out of 24/7, and he kept telling me about, hey, we're going to do something, we need to do something. And then he told me about Outsider, and I kind of just started hanging around. And he was in his pool house, and we didn't have an office yet. And just kind of went over there and was just kind of sitting around, and then it kind of just kept evolving. And then finally I was like, all right, I have nothing else to do. I might as well just do this. And it's kind of taken off.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the brainchild behind it. I mean, he's internet, SEO, like all that stuff. He's a genius.
Yeah. What are you most excited about with Outsider that you have maybe coming up this summer or that you're working on right now?
Well, we have cigars coming, hopefully in the next 10 days, and then beer at some point. Those are kind of the 2 pet projects that I'm really excited about, and those are going to be fun.
And y'all roped me into all of this now.
We conned you, tricked you.
I would love to go walk around the office.
Yeah, let's go. Well, let's do it.
All right, haven't seen this one before. I guess this is what we're taking to work.
This is what we're taking.
Is this just a casual day in the life? What you take to work every day?
Every once in a while.
Oh, God.
On a nice day.
All right. What kind of car is this again?
This is a Ferrari. Ford.
I didn't sign a release for this. Do you have a helmet?
Yeah, you don't want it.
I feel like I might need it. Mom, if you see this, I love you. Oh, God. I like being a tea reader.
I don't.
You don't? It's all red?
It is.
I've never seen you dance. It's a nice horse. Off to a good start. To give y'all some context, these are very tiny, winding roads that we're going on.
See how fast this thing goes?
No, it's not. When you're alone in the car, what do you think about?
How fast can I go? Are there cops ahead of me?
Oh, God. We're passing someone. You could have at least warned me.
It wouldn't be as fun then.
Do you have any pet peeves, like things that you really
Slow drivers.
hate that make you so mad?
just inefficiency. Like I just like to be as efficient as possible. So if someone's just and being late, I hate late.
Yeah.
I don't like the word epic. Like people say that means epic. I'm like, nah.
I'll remember that.
It wasn't epic. It was just another day.
Worst experience during a football game?
We're in Miami, and I cracked like 2 or 3 ribs right here. And I literally have never been in more pain in my entire life. It was
Even from a sprained MCL.
Oh
cracked
no!
ribs were worse.
Oh, cracked ribs I broke my thumb.
Yeah.
Cracked ribs was by far the worst. Not even close.
I bet just because you can't like breathe.
You can't breathe. You can't sneeze. You can't laugh.
Oh.
Going to the bathroom is you might as well just not.
We have arrived. We made it out alive. Okay, so what are we doing today? What meetings do we have?
Got a podcast in 15.
Yeah.
Can meet everyone else in the office. We've got a NASCAR meeting for the event on Thursday.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Thank you. So a full day.
Full day.
You've launched the apparel. We have the shirts and hats already out. Working on beers, cigars, coolers, all of that. What is the main goal of all of this that you guys are rolling out?
Great question. I think what we're doing, the media and lifestyle brand and like everything that we're kind of building and outside and all the fun stuff, I think it's community based. And bringing Jason on was so instrumental because like the Tin Roofs that they did, like there was a community there and people knew that, and that's why we're starting in Nashville because this is obviously our home, and building that community around Outsider and people that enjoy the things that we enjoy, and we're trying to give them first class products, and we love our beer, we love our cigars, we love everything we're doing. So that's the goal of kind of creating this community that everyone kind of surround themselves with, and we can all respect each other and have fun and enjoy the things that we enjoy.
So it's kind of like not just buying the products, but you're joining a team in that community.
100%. It's definitely a team. It's we want to see what you're doing. We want to be able to do fun things. And to do fun things it's kind of what we're all about.
Well, Jay, thank you for taking me through a day in the life. This was a busy one.
Usually I just sit here all day.
That's what I've heard.
So you caught me on a day I actually had to do things. Tomorrow after today I'm literally going to do nothing.
You have a lot of big events coming up though, so you need the chill time.
Exactly. We got some stuff coming up, but it was fun.
It was.
Thanks for coming over.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.